Hello. After a hectic 2 weeks, a break from the AFCON is very, very, very essential. However, can we really break away from football? Very, very difficult. So in this peaceful moment, we go online on social media and we watch videos and we reflect and we ponder. So I came across this video by famous Nigerian blogger, famous Nigerian influencer, the real combo. Someone I like to watch. He talks football with a lot of passion. He loves the game and he knows his stuff. But I was a bit concerned by one video that I watched of the real combos. And this was about the scheduling of AFCON. And the real combo raised a few good points, and asked some pertinent questions. But he was generally talking about the scheduling of AFCON. And one of the issues he raised, and I will play the videos so that you listen along with me, was this.
I don't know how possible this will be, but after this AFCON, I'm hoping that CAF can look at the AFCON calendar and say, can we adjust this calendar to suit the African players better? Now, this is my point. Can the AFCON be shifted to the same time when the Euros and the Copa America is played? That way, making African players more attractive to European clubs. Because I believe that one of the major reasons why most of the top European clubs don't like going for African players is because of the AFCON calendar. Now look at Manchester United, for example. Manchester United is going to lose Mazraoui. They're going to lose Amad Diallo. They're going to lose Brian Mbeumo during this AFCON period. Brian Mbeumo has been Manchester United's most important player this season. He has been their shining light. He has been their best player. He has been their most potent threat in attack. Now, they are going to lose this player for about a month or a month plus, depending on how far Cameroon goes in the AFCON. They are going to lose.
So, according to the real combo, he is suggesting that maybe the AFCON should be rescheduled so that it takes place at the same time as the Copa America and the Euros. Technically speaking, there is no problem with that. That can easily be done, isn't it? But the only issue is this. When you watch the AFCON and the adverts are going through, what's the name? What's the name of the AFCON at the moment? And I think the last 3 tournaments. Total Energies AFCON. It's not Dangote Petroleum AFCON. No, it's Total Energies. So we have these foreign companies that invest in the AFCON. Then we want to schedule AFCON at the same time as the tournaments in the areas where these companies come from. If we had African companies sponsoring the AFCON, then that wouldn't be a problem because we have the population to go with it, isn't it? So just think about that. The second issue he raised in this is the fact that it will help African players. And where he is going to with this is that the scheduling of AFCON affects the recruitment of top African players to the big European clubs. The real combo gives examples. And in his examples, he goes to England, to the Premier League. And he cites Amad Diallo, Brian Mbeumo. So, the real combo is talking about big European clubs. And when he talks about European clubs, he names Manchester United in Britain in the EPL. And that, I think, is a problem. It's the wrong sample for a problem. Okay? When you speak about Europe, the big clubs in Europe, you talk England, Spain, France, Germany, Italy, and I can bring in Portugal and Belgium and Holland. Okay? So, what I would like us to do is a little exercise and to test this hypothesis. And if you remember, just before the AFCON, we had the Turkish international, Hasan Sas, complain about the AFCON and even went as far as making xenophobic comments about Africans. Okay? And I would say in this list, I also have the Turkish and the Greek league. And one thing I would like you to consider when you talk about this, about the recruitment, about the scheduling of AFCON affecting the recruitment of African players to big clubs is to understand the pyramid of recruitment of African players to top European leagues. There is a pyramid of recruitment. So there are leagues that players from Africa, in their majority, go to before they go to the big clubs or to the big leagues. Now, usually when African players coming from Africa come to the big leagues, they would normally start in the academies. But obviously you get exceptional talents like Diomande, who's just went straight into the Bundesliga. Actually not. He actually started in Spain in the second division. And this is what I'm saying. So the pyramid of recruitment does not let African players or does not allow African players straight into the top leagues. They have to be tested and proven that they can perform at that level. So let's now go to that list and look at how the scheduling of AFCON affects teams. Now, because of Mr. Hassan Sass, I'm going to start with Turkey. Mind you, the AFCON started on the 21st, and I'm factoring the fact that teams are expected to release players 2 weeks before, but the reality is that most teams negotiate with associations. So the Turkish league went on their winter break, on the 22nd of December and will resume on the 16th of January. So if you're playing at the AFCON and you play up to the finals, you're going to miss one game. Thank you, Mr. Hassan Sass. The Greek league ended on the 22nd of December and resumes today. So if you were playing in the Greek league, the top teams like Olympiacos, like Mr. El Kabi does, you're going to miss 2 games. I wonder if that would affect their league stand. Italy is a case similar to England. So they have played over the break and over the European break, and they've played 5 games. So if you were playing for Inter Milan or for AC Milan or for Napoli, that would have affected your team. So that I agree with. The German league, they went on their break on the 19th and they resumed today. So if you're playing in the Bundesliga for Bayern Munich, for Borussia Dortmund, then you would have missed 2 league games or a maximum of 3. If you're playing in Belgium, they went on the 16th and they haven't resumed. They're resuming on the 16th. Belgium is resuming on the 16th. So just like in Turkey, you would miss 1 game if you went all the way to the finals, like Mr. Onyedika might do with Nigeria. Portugal, they went on their break on the 29th, so you would have missed 1 or 2 games already, and they resume today. And if you're playing for the top teams, most of them resume on the 18th. So maximum 2 to 3 games. French League, they went on their break on the 21st, and they resume on the 16th of January. So if you went up to the finals in the French League, which is where the majority of the players come from, you would have missed 2 games maximum. That's if you left before the 16th. If you left before the 21st of December. And you must go up to the finals to miss 2 or 3 games. But usually 2 games maximum. Spain, 22nd of December. They resume on the 3rd of January. But may I just ask, how many Spanish league games have you watched since the AFCON started? Have you seen Real Madrid or Barcelona play a league game? How many? Maximum 2 or 3. Would that affect their title chances? Just maybe. So, if you're looking at the wider context, as the real combo was speaking, if you're thinking about Europe per se, that hypothesis does not hold. The whole of Eastern Europe is on a break, a longer break. The whole of Scandinavia is on a break. Scandinavia is a hotbed for African players where they go and start their football, professional football. Belgium, a hotbed. Portugal, not so much. So if we're looking at the big leagues of Europe, and we're looking at France, Spain, Italy, Germany, England, the impact is not significant. So what is the problem? Why do they always complain when the AFCON comes round? What I would say is this: the European calendar immediately after the AFCON is very intense because the European competitions come back and the leagues catch up. Okay? One of the issues that directors of football and data performance analysts talk about is the risk of injury. They have complained about the lack of performance-related data in relation to player performance when they go and play for their African countries. So instead of having these boys rest, these boys are playing while their mates in Europe, most of them are resting. And when they come back, it's very easy for them to pick up injuries. They're not coming back in optimum. Yes, they are fit, they would have lost weight, they would not have gained any weight, but the overload on their bodies is there. And when you send them into battle, into games, high performance games, there is the risk to injury. So this is one of their main issues. But in terms of scheduling, in terms of the AFCON schedule affecting clubs in Europe, the impact is barely impactful. And I would say, apart from Italy and England, there is little or no impact at all for those who play in France, in Germany, in Spain, in Belgium, in Portugal, in Greece, in Turkey, and in all the Scandinavian countries and Eastern European countries. So, what's the problem? What's the real problem? Thank you for watching, and I hope this gives us a point of reflection. Thank you, Mr. Real Combo. God bless.